You want me to do what?
The September poem. Go ahead.
Because when the goldenrod is yellow, and the corn is turning brown, and the trees in apple orchards with fruit are bending down. The door, and she said, "I'll make a bed for you, Rolland." At that time, I was halfway up the stairs to George.
And? Were you married?
Yes. Got 2 gallons. And he died. She wasn't going to be stuck with 2 gallons of maple syrup. She took them back out, the guys. Said, "Will you buy these back?" He said, "Yes." Grandpa loves maple syrup. He put maple syrup on everything.
Yep, mashed potatoes. He'd make a little well and put syrup in it.
He had it always in that little honey bear.
Mm-hmm.
He always squeezed it out of that little bear container. Well, there wasn't a whole lot Grandpa Lattanner ever needed. He'd sit in his chair and say, "Mildred, what you cooking in there?"
Yeah, he would.
I felt so, I mean, he had to be in pain so much of those knees.
He should have had knee replacement. But back then, I wonder if the replacements were probably not as good as
they wouldn't have an operation.
I remember looking at those.
Look,
That's terrible.
that's terrible.
All right, what's terrible, Raleigh? Go ahead. This barn was what?
Well,
Give us the history.
it was all wood.
Oh, it's not even wood now. That's all siding.
That's all siding.
And
Whose barn was this?
originally.
It was my grandfather bought 103 acres here of land with all trees on it. And his 2 brothers bought 103 acres down here farther. And then he got married.
Who'd he marry?
Nancy.
What year was that, would you say?
I think about 1881.
Now, is this your grandparents?
Grandparents.
Mildred's parents.
Their pictures are up there.
Grandma Mildred Bauer, it's her parents you're talking about.
She was born in this house right back here that isn't here anymore.
Okay.
There's nothing in here.
And she was born in what, 1900 or 1899?
1901.
1901.
Blair was born 1900.
Okay.
That looks like hell. Okay.
So, grandparents farmed this land here,
Yes.
and then
1880.
did they give the land to Mildred and Blair?
Yes, she bought it. Aunt Mary and Uncle Charlie, and they wanted to buy it, so they bought them out. And Uncle Charlie, he was in California, and Mary got her share. Oh,
So-
what the hell is that?
That's a semi-truck went by.
What? So where did your grandparents go when Mildred and Blair bought them out?
They lived in Montpelier.
Okay, they lived in...
They moved into Montpelier in 1915, and she was 15 years old.
That was... Okay. So they left the farm in 1915?
Yes,
Why'd they leave the farm?
they're getting old.
Yeah, but Mildred would only been 14 years old.
Well, anyway,
So when did Mildred buy the farm?
in 1939,
1939. All right, so you're 16. You move out to the farm. Where were you when you were 5 years old?
I was right here.
Okay, and where was your grandparents then?
In
Montpelier?
In Montpelier.
Okay.
Her mother and father were.
Right.
So were you born? You were born in that house that we
I
went
was
through.
born in that house.
Okay, that's where she
And
varnished
that's why
the floors.
Mildred was born in that house. Vic was born in that house.
So tell me the story, Grandma. You were really supposed to be born what month?
What?
You were supposed to be born what month?
Oh, June,
August.
August.
But you were premature 2 months.
Yes. What is that?
And you weighed, what was that?
3 pounds.
3 pounds, and you fit in a shoebox.
Huh?
You fit in a shoebox, Grandma said.
Grandma said
No, a
what?
cigar box. I thought.
No, he doesn't even that small.
He was,
A cigar box?
he was held in one. I think we better go. I'm gonna move.
Was it a cigar box or a shoebox that you fit into? And your great aunt's wedding ring, Grandma told me, fit over your hand.
Yeah.
And your head fit in a teacup.
Oh shit!
That's what they said. Well, this is.
We'll have to
There's
really edit
nothing
this
here
one.
left. There's nothing here left.
Where are there's a lot
Go straight on down.
I am.
Let's go down, then we'll turn around.
That was quite a production, though.
And I think I gave you all a paper at Christmas time that Uncle Charlie had written, where he said when he was going to school, he could see the cabins sitting. I think I gave you one Christmas a letter from,
Yeah, you did give us a letter.
and he could see the wood cabins when he went to school, and he had to go 3 miles to school.
Uphill,
And-
both ways. Okay, 3 miles to school.
And they didn't want him to, no, wait, what was that story? They didn't want him to walk that far. So he stayed down here with his grandparents, so he would only have to walk a mile to school.
One way.
Yeah. Now there was a nice house in. See, he's got it.
They got all these.
There was a nice house and barn up there.
Yeah, and they've sold it all off, and it's all industry now.
It's all industry.
Beautiful land out here, though, isn't it? It's pretty.
Yeah. And so he bought 103 acres down here. And then I'll show you up here. Uncle George bought 103. And the other brother bought 103. What was his name?
Were they the three brothers that came over and married sisters?
No, they were all born here.
Oh.
This is County Road 9 that the old Bauer homestead is on for future reference. County Road 9 off of 20, and we'll find out what this road is that sits in between 20 and.
Now, before you go to the left, I want to go to the right and show you the cemetery.
Okay.
The one that lived to be 97 years old, 98 years old when he died.
Buried up there.
And he's buried up there.
Yeah.
That's, what did we say his name was?
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Lorenz.
L-O what?
Lorenz.
Well, anyway, that's where he's buried. And his wife's buried up there. Now, he set up this, he bought the 103 acres in here and was the original owner and farmed this land here. John, his oldest son, was up there where I was born, and my mother was born, and Vic was born. And then there was another brother, Uncle Gabe, over on the behind this. He had a farm, 103 acres. And so then George, the youngest boy, he bought this from his dad then. And the old man's wife had died, and so he lived out his years with his daughters. And like they did so many times in those days. But he started this place here. Or this was his farm. I guess that's all I got to say here.
So we're talking about this house right here.
Yeah. Got married. He lived in he and Amanda lived in a cabin up there on the right next to that creek.
Did they use the creek for anything?
I don't know that.
So what year are we talking about when they got married? Do you know? About what year?
I would say about maybe 1900.
Wow.
Cars coming out of there.
Oh, I suppose you've owned this 40, 50 years.
54 years.
54
wow.
years. And I'm 95 and I
very
spent
nice.
a lot of time here.
You got me by 10 years.
And
Wow.
it was,
Yeah, I would thought you were like
was a
70
fun
Yeah, I
place
something.
to
would
come.
have
And he had a place you could sharpen knives out here, and you'd
Oh, yeah?
right out here. And we do that, and we'd sleep in the haymow, and they'd say, now, Grandma'd say, now, no matches up there. Oh,
He said that
and you've been here 50-some years.
54 years.
Congratulations. And you've done a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
Did you live a little off down to the creek back here? Behind the barn?
No,
No? But you...
that was pasture.
That was pasture,
Yep.
okay.
That was pasture. Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah.
It looks like it's been
Yeah,
level.
we did. And then my daughter lives there.
Is that right?
That place in there.
Now, is that creek down there run at all anymore? Is it?
Yep.
Is there a mulberry tree down there?
There's a lot of them. There's several.
They had a big truck patch down there
Oh, yeah?
in more than 55 years ago. But I love to come to my grandparents here, and they didn't hear what I said coming out. And we lived in Montpelier for a while, and my brother and I, we would walk out here
Oh, yeah?
from Montpelier.
Boy. Now,
You wouldn't send a kid today walking out here.
No. Didn't you tell me, I think you're the one that told me that you sit right up there and watch them build that barn?
No,
That wasn't you?
no. That barn was built all the time. It was before my time.
Okay, then that was before you.
Yeah.
John.
There used to be Harlan. I forget if it's Harlan Lattanner, but that was my grandfather's name. Oh, this was a great place.
it still
And I-
is.
Well, that's very nice.
You know what? We're going to stay here. I'm selling 20-some acres to my grandson that lives down there. But we put a pond back in the woods.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, isn't there some houses back there? No?
How many acres do you have here?
Well, right now there's 78.
Okay.
We started out with 80.
Oh, okay.
And I sold my daughter some. Now my grandson wants.
Aw.
He grew up around here, and he always went back to the pond.
What is your name?
Knopfziger. Bill Knopfziger.
No, see, yeah.
We came from Stryker. Yeah, we bought it from Harold Jones.
Is that right?
Yep.
Well, my grandfather died while I was in the Navy. He died in, I think, 44. After I went to the Navy, I never saw my grandfather again. And then in the meantime, I guess Grandma, she came to stay with us, with my dad. And wait, I got married in 51 and she was still living. Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you
it's
so
good to see you
much.
again.
Yes.
Harlan and Addie Lattanner over here, and Grace and Blair and John and Mary were all born here, and they've passed. But the place looks pretty good for now, and the crops look wonderful. But I was 2 months premature, and then the doctor said, well, you might as well dig a grave. He's not going to live. And Grandma Updike said, oh, come on, take care of that boy. And she did.
Now, Grandma Updike would have been whose mom?
My great-grandmother.
Your great-grandmother on your grandmother's side?
Yeah, and the wife of the guy's picture in my living room.
Now, was Addie an Updike?
Yes.
Okay. So Addie and Harlan were your grandparents.
Yep.
And Addie's parents were the Updikes.
Yes. And the Updikes I traced clear back into
Well, they came from that book, that Germany.
in Europe. They came over here in 1673. Came to New York.
Dad, what's the story with your paper route and then you bought that horse for $50? Is that all tied in together?
Is that what?
All tied in together? Didn't you have a paper route and you made like a penny a week or a dime a week or something?
I think when I first started,
How old were
for
you?
each customer, it was 12 cents a week, and the boy got 3 cents on it. Newspaper, and it wasn't a Sunday paper, and it cost him 12 cents a week for the paper, and you made 3 cents
For the whole week?
for the whole week.
What else did you do to earn money? Because you had 50.
Pick up junk and sell papers at the junkyard. That was about it.
And you saved all that and had $50 to buy that horse?
I had money in the bank.
You always have money in the bank. Did you not buy anything as a little kid? Did you ever go to town to get candy or, I don't know?
No, I never spent my money on candy.
Of course. Did you spend your money on alcohol?
No.
I don't know where the water is, but there's floating.
We're getting close, aren't we?
Yeah.
Did he find?
Lori told me a story how you and Uncle Vic used to ride cows, and I've never heard that story.
Well, the farmer in those days was always raising cattle, young cattle, to be cows, and then they become milk cows. Well, these probably were close to a year old, and Grandpa would have them in the barn, in what we call the big place in the barn where they were put in straw, and it was clean. It was periodically cleaned, and the manure put out in the field, and then the fresh straw put in. They'd go to town, they'd leave us at home.
How old were you then?
Oh, I suppose I was 15, 16. Yeah, 15, 16. And Uncle Vic been about 10. And they left, and we would go out, and some of the cattle were pretty young, and we'd get on and ride them.
Not put anything on them, just jump on them and hold their ears? Oh my gosh. Did they try to buck you off?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Were you just riding around in the barn, or is there a corral or a stalls, or?
Yeah, it was inside the barn. Yeah.
And would they you would end up being bucked off?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And what would Grandpa do if he saw you?
Oh, he didn't care. He'd raise hell with us.
Did Grandpa raise hell with you?
No, but he didn't think that I'd ever amount to a dime. He'd say, you'll never amount to a dime. A dime was...
Blair said that to you?
Yeah, he thought I was worthless. He thought I would took after my Charlie.
Now, why would he think that?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I wasn't necessarily lazy. He wouldn't do everything. He wasn't much of a teacher.
Well, now, who would milk the cows?
I would help milk, and he and Mother milked the cows, and I would occasionally milk a cow or so.
So
I didn't have to milk in the morning because you milk a cow and you smell like a cow, and I wouldn't go to school smelling like a cow. So some of those kids come right off and go to school and they smell like they've been milking.
did you guys have any pigs?
Did we have any what?
Pigs.
Pigs, yeah.
You had pigs too on the farm?
Yeah. Had a lot of pigs.
Would you keep one of those too for to eat?
Oh, sure.
So you had some good bacon.
Sure, they did.
Well, didn't you even get steak sometimes for breakfast?
Steak?
Yeah.
Well, Grandpa had steak for breakfast because he killed a young calf every year, and we had steak all the time. But they didn't eat steak like we do now.
What do you mean? It was different?
They would
fried it.
cook it till it fell off the bone.
Do you have the recording of them playing euchre?
Can you tell the story, Dad, about how you used to go to, when you were a little boy and play euchre and you would deal yourself? Tell that story.
Well, I went with Uncle Rolland and Aunt Mary. Aunt Mary was Mother's sister. And they had two girls. They both had infantile paralysis. And the one died, and the other one was, she lived in Finley. What was Loris. And Loris ended up,
Didn't she have polio?
she did. She always walked with a limp. She had infantile paralysis. Well, anyway, she was 10 years older than I was. So, and Mother was 10 years older than she was. And anyway, from the very beginning, I would spend a lot of time with Aunt Mary and Uncle Rolland. And when they always took me to the lake when the fishing up at the Hemlock came in on the 25th of June every year. And Uncle Rolland would always go up there when the fishing season came in on the 25th of June, and my birthday was on the 26th. So I would always go with them. They'd invite me to go up there with them. But they had lost one daughter, and the other was now pretty well grown, and they'd love to have me come over there.
And what did they call you?
Well, my aunt called me Charlie Boy, because she had named me, my first name was Charles. She named me Charles, and Mother wanted to call me after Uncle Rolland, so my name was Charles Rolland. So anyway, and Aunt Mary always called me Charlie Boy, and I loved to go over there, and then during the Depression, there was there where I said they lived, right across the road and down about a quarter of a mile, not very far, there was a dance hall, and it was Prohibition then, and I'd say, well, why are those girls laughing at night? I yelled out the window, and they were in the car over there a lot, and Uncle Raleigh and Aunt Mary always had a lot of friends that always liked to come there periodically and play euchre. And they play euchre, and so I watched it. So I'd take a what's one of those things? Ottoman. And I'd deal out 5 cards to 4 hands, and then I'd go around and I would bid, and then I would play each hand.
Oh
That's the way I taught my players to play euchre.
You probably always won too. That's a good one, Dad. So you knew how to play euchre at a very young age.
I started to play euchre when I was 5 years old.
You've been playing euchre for 90 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dad would play with the men, but he would never play with us kids. And you know that to be a fact. That I'd ask him to play euchre with us kids when you all came, and he'd never do it. You bought a paper route from when a guy grew up, and he had a paper route, then he would sell it to you. And then you could build on that. And so, by the time I was in the 5th grade, I was banking a little bit of maybe $1 a week or maybe $2 a week in the bank.
Now, would you literally go into Montpelier to deposit your money?
Yes. I can show you my bank book.
How would you get into Montpelier? Did you ride a bike or did you ride a horse?
Well, we were living in Montpelier.
Oh, okay. You're living in Montpelier at this.
And then after we moved back out to the farm, why I would ride back and forth to deliver papers. I wasn't going to give up that money.
And what did you ride in back and forth on, a bicycle?
Bicycle, and I bought my first bicycle for $12.
Wow.
A used bike.
Even in the winter?
Sure.
When that wind blows across those fields?
Well, I take it back. When we moved back out the farm, when it got to be winter time, I sold the paper route. I didn't ride back and forth in the snow.
Did you sell it for a fair trade? For a fair amount?
Well, I suppose I did. So after high school, we immediately went to, at first fall, the war started, and then there were schools in Chicago. There was a school in Chicago that would teach you to work aluminum and learn to rivet, and it cost $400 or $500 to go to that school, and I said I want to go to that school, and they said, well, you'll have to use your money. So I paid them out of my money and went up to Chicago and went to school and ran into my first
Talk to me about
guy on the corner that was queer. God, I was scared to death.
What were you scared of?
Queer.
Oh.
Homosexual.
Did you not see those till you got to Chicago?
Huh?
You didn't see any of those homosexuals till you got to Chicago?
No.
There wasn't any in Montpelier? That you knew of?
Not that I know of. graduated, I heard that Detroit was going to hire and start building planes, and they'd build a big factory up there by Ford, but they had to convert it, and so I checked into it, and they weren't hiring yet. So I heard that they were hiring in Columbus at Curtis Wright. So I took a bus down there, and
Do we turn here, Dad?
where are we?
6:13.
No, I don't
this
think
is
this is. We do veer off to the right, but it's up here.
Where are we headed for?
We're at the Kalida.
There was a sign that said
Okay.
light. I forget how many miles.
Yeah.
I've been talking.
No, that's all
That's all
right.
right. I think we veer off here.
So where was I?
You took a bus down to Columbus.
And I stayed at the YMCA, and I ran into a queer there,
Homosexual.
homosexual. And then there were some guys from Williams County there. There you are on 115. Then we're working out there, and we had a carpool. We'd pay so much for a ride to work, and I worked there for about 6-8 months, and then they were getting close to my number to be to go in the Army. And so there were 3 of us, and we decided that one guy had a car. Let's go out west and see a little of this country. We're going to have to go. We wanted to see some of the country, so we quit our jobs and we piled into this car, and we went out through Colorado and Wyoming and over to California, and Uncle Charlie lived out there, and I got to meet my cousins out there, and I took a job out there in California and worked for about 3-4 months in a plant that was making airplanes, and then it was getting close to being called up, and so I went back home, and I said, I don't want to go to the Army. I want to go to the Navy. So I went down to Toledo and enlisted in the Navy. And I went back home for about a month, and then they called me up in February of '42 to come to Toledo. Then I went to Great Lakes, and then back and into the Navy.
Is that where you did your training in Great Lakes?
Yeah. Cold as heck, boy, that winter. You know where you are now?
Yeah.
That's interesting, Dad. I never knew you went out to California.
Yeah, we may have siblings out there too.
This is all tape.
No. This is like in Australia.
But Grandma and Grandpa, well, at that age, you were a grown adult, so.
They never seemed to worry about me.
Did Grandpa ever, after you went to college and got your degree and you did well with Nationwide Insurance, did Grandpa ever say anything about how well you did in life?
Oh, they were proud. As soon as I graduated from college, Nationwide company, it was a farm bureau then, but they came down and hired about 8 of us. And they thought that was something great that I went right to a job. Yeah, Rolland's working in Columbus. Yeah.
So you had made it big time then with him.
Was Rolland Lattanner, was he a lot like Blair?
Who, Rolland?
Yeah, your grandpa. As in, talking and
He was a little bit more
was he a little bit more
friendly.
friendly?
Yeah.
Not that Blair was friendly.
He'd smoke a cigar. He was the darndest guy. I was telling, I don't know which one of them. He could get more manure on his boots than anyone I ever saw. But come Saturday, man, he dressed up and he had a cigar and he went every Saturday to town. And he always smoked a cigar.
What was in town that he'd go to?
Montpelier.
Well, yeah, but I mean, why would he go into town?
They went into shop.
Oh, okay. So Adeline went with him then.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And they were great people.
But you've always said how loving your grandparents were. I didn't know if.
My parents were loving too, but in a different way.
Oh no, I don't think there was anyone more loving than Mildred could be.
Yeah, but
And Grandpa was good.
I never saw my dad kiss my mother. That's terrible.
Well, it was probably a different time, and he just.
I know.
I have friends though that my age that say that they never saw their parents ever kiss or hold hands. I'm like, really?
Blair was a good man. I mean, he was a great. We had a lot of fun with him as a grandpa. He just would.
He loved you kids.
He'd always want us to go up and get Long Johns from the bakery, or
Sure.
he'd hide the candy like we didn't know where it was. Then we'd have to pretend we didn't know where it was, but it was always under his bed.
Were those Long Johns those maple
Yeah.
sticks?
Sure, he
From
softened
Macy's.
up when he had grandchildren. When I bought that lawn skylight, when we built that house, and I didn't have any money, he loaned me a couple $1,000.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. Oh, I don't doubt.
And when I had paid so much I went off, he forgave the rest of it. Oh, he was a good dad in the end. He just was hard to be human, I guess.
Well, when there's no guidelines on raising children, and
That's right.
you just do the best you can at the times you're given. So,
We all make mistakes.
yeah.
Where are we now?
Kalida.
Oh, there's a big church.
Yep. Cross yourself as you go by.
Yeah. When we were in town, and I told you about him, but took a job with the railroad and he got into bed bugs the first night. He
Oh yeah.
got back to Montpelier and he told him, take that job, I'm not going. And,
Oh, we got bed bugs?
and I'm not going to sleep in bed bugs.
Ugh.
And he quit his job and he went with the dairy. But he worked 7 days a week from 5 in the morning till 6 at night.
Wow. That's
And kept the horse close to us when we were there in town. And had hay there and he'd feed her and then he'd come back and eat breakfast and then he'd hitch her up to the building, go uptown, fill up.
Did you ever go with him when he did deliveries?
No,
Or drive in.
but he worked 5 to 7 days a week and he had a job all through the Depression.
Well, you came from a family that had good work ethics.
But everybody liked Blair because he was a good, honest man.
Well, I'd love to have gone to the lake with them, and when they all would go dress up and go up there and have picnics and
Up at Clear Lake.
Clear Lake.
Yeah, well, never, they didn't go a lot to Hemlock Lake because it wasn't a swimming lake. But he loved to go to Clear Lake.
Oh, I can remember swimming with the Clear Lake.
And Mother loved to go to Clear Lake.
I don't remember Grandma swimming, but Grandpa
Big
did.
place where you could change clothes. You know?
Yeah.
Bathhouse. Like a bathhouse.
Yeah.
Well, we rented a house with the Nels one time.
Yeah, one time.
Yep.
And that's when we started to get friendly with the Nows, yeah.
I still remember going to that little store there, and Eric and I would go and buy comic books and candy, and that I still, even that smell of that little store we could walk to from our cottage.
Where are we headed now?
Yeah, probably Ada is the next one, isn't it?
What is it?
Ada?
Okay, yeah.
We're at
This
30?
town has changed. We used to always stop and get a sandwich here.
Yeah, Kalida. Yeah.
Well, in
Oh, in Ada, we'd stop at
But
Hardee's.
yeah, there was a place in Ada that we stopped. But this place has changed. It's very nice downtown. One of the ladies that eats dinner with us, she came from here.
From Ada or Kalida?
Ada.
Ada? Well, we can stop and see where the national football balls are made.
Oh, I know that's Ada.
The regulated football that they use at the games are all from Ada.
Never knew. That's a good trivia question. You've done a lot in your 95 years, Rollo.
As soon as I graduated from high school, we had a big factory that in Montpelier that hired about 400 people, and they built truck. They go to Detroit to bring chassis down, Dodge and Ford, and they'd bring chassis down, and then they would build a truck on them. And so I wasn't out of school. I hadn't graduated from high school till June, and I went down there and I got a job right away in that, and I worked there for, I guess, 6 months. And then I started going to that school in Chicago. But I worked at Montpelier, that factory. That factory later burned down and they didn't build it back up. And so Montpelier lost 400 jobs there, right there. You know, that's a lot of course, a lot of them were farmers that were also machinists. And but that hurt.
Where was the factory in Montpelier?
Well, as you drove into town, you drove through to the south side, and there was this big factory.
Would have been around where the pool is? That south side?
To the west of there. Yeah.
Okay.
On the other side of the tracks.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dad appreciated that.
All right, let's get to the good stuff.
They got off my tail then.
Okay. Well, Well, it's just like any parent. You want your kids to be successful in whatever they do. I mean,
It doesn't mean money, but just have good work ethic is huge if you can instill that in your children.
Well, let's get to the good stuff. Who?
Well, Uncle Charlie, Papa and John, and they expected their boys to work on the farm, and Charlie didn't want to work on the farm. He wanted to go to California. So he just up and left and worked his way at harvest time across the United States, shocking wheat, and stuff like that. And he worked his way across California, and he never came back.
Well, you went out there after you graduated to work, but he came to the house one time, didn't he?
Yeah. And then when I went out there, I lived with one of his daughters, Dixie.
I remember hearing that now. I didn't realize I was his daughter. We met her.
They came to our house.
Yeah, we met her.
On Sky, or on
Thornhill.
Thornhill, yeah. Dixie and
Dell,
yeah. And Dell was really lazy.
Well, did Uncle Charlie work out in California when he got out there?
Yeah, he worked for insurance company out of Columbus Life there. He sold insurance out there.
Well,
I don't know what kind of a living he made, but he lived out there. And he married, had 2 kids, and then his wife got a divorce.
In high school?
Who did I date?
Yeah.
Well, I dated we had 2 sets of twins in my class. The Todd twins, girls. I dated one of those, and then all through my senior year, I dated Joanne Best.
So after high school then, when you took off to build the widgets or whatever they were, what did you do with your girlfriend?
Well, after I left, Joanne and Warren Nolan started to go together, and
she didn't wait around.
And they married and had 7 kids.
Well, did she write you a Dear John letter and say, I'm seeing Warren Nolan?
I don't remember anything about that.
I just wondered how you found out that
I was away and
the miles played, huh?
And I didn't go home very often, so those things happen.
Didn't Ruby and Mildred always want you to get with Barbara Nolan?
Well, that's another story.
All right, well, talk away.
Well, when I went away, Barbara was just a little girl. She's about the 6th grade, or 8th grade, I don't remember. But I went to the war. Well, after the war was over, and I came home and went to college. Gee, I came home and Barbara wasn't that little girl anymore. She was a young girl. She and Mother, they were great friends. And so was Dad and
Lester?
They were great friends and neighbors and all that. So I started dating her, and then I think the women probably thought that maybe there would be a match there.
Did she get sick while she was dating you, or was that later in life?
Well, I was dating OU, and then I started to date your mother. And she was a special lady. She was a good kid and a smart one. And they just fell in love with her. Well, the strange part of it was Barbara was in Fort Wayne going to business school, and she was really smart too. And she got cancer and died real fast. So it's funny how life turns out.
Right.
I mean, it was a loss to humanity for such a smart lady to die so quick and from cancer.
So young.
And so young, she was only about 21 or 22.
That had to have been so hard on Ruby and Lester.
Yes, it was. But she was the only daughter. All the rest of them were boys.
Ruby and Lester were nice people. I remember visiting with them with Grandma.
They were, to me, genuine, like salt of the earth people.
Yeah.
And to me, Lester reminded me of Grandpa a lot. Did he have a similar personality, or would you have said Lester had a different personality than Blair?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought you and Wayne knew each other from the time you were little boys.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't
He
realize.
said no, he meant you more.
I called Wayne, we talked for about 30, 40 minutes. I'll have to call him back and say, it's up here.
So when did...
There's one other brother of his lives out there in Indiana. All the rest of them are dead.
So you went off to OU, and where did you... When you were at Ohio University, what year was it that you met Mom?
Well, I knew Mom for a couple of years.
While you were at OU?
And then, I can't remember, but it was the beginning of my senior year. We started dating.
How'd you ask her out?
I asked her out. Well, she had a couple of other guys that we were dating. So I said, well, I gotta get rid of those guys. So I had a car.
Stop. Dad, do you need to stop at the rest stop?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, just let us know. Go ahead. So you had So how'd you get rid of those other guys after Mom?
I met her in the Methodist church down there. They had a nice room, and they'd meet after classes every night, every week, every day. We'd go after classes out there, and then they'd have their get-togethers at the church. Just a fun place. They called it the Match Factory.
The Match Factory?
Yeah, a lot of couples came out of there. Rosemary's.
Oh yeah, the Roseberries.
She's got dementia too.
Yeah.
He's never admitted to me on the telephone.
What did you think of Jobs and Merle and Elmer when you first met them?
What did I what?
What did you think of Jobs and Merle and Elmer when you first went home with Mom?
She invited me up there. And I missed the house, and when I backed up, I knocked this mailbox off.
Oh my gosh.
He said, don't worry about it. And Uncle John, he made it. I got along with it. They're nice folks.
Did Elmer say much to you?
No, Elmer never talked too much.
I don't remember him talking hardly at all, ever.
He's the only man that I knew could be reading the newspaper and listen to the radio and watching television at the same time.
That was probably baseball games.
And a baseball game, yeah.
That's how I remember him sitting in that chair.
And Uncle John, he did the gardening and he had a full-time job with the gas company.
Uncle John, every time when we'd be down there at the Four Oak or, with Vince's friends down there, I'd tell them I was related to John Gears, and they go, oh, our gas man. I said, yeah, that's who it was.
Who said that?
Just people down around Gloucester that I would say, I would tell them, and I said, well, I'm related, my uncle is John Gears, and they'd always say, oh, the gas man. I said, yeah, the gas man.
Well, John could do anything too.
Well, they were smart kids.
He was a very capable man.
Well, all of them were.
Yeah.
Charles, Marmee, they were all smart. All very smart and bright.
It's going to take you all day to...
Yes, sir.
Now,
Who did?
Brian.
Uh-huh.
They had a name for it, but I don't remember what it was. But they gave away a mare and a colt. So we would go over as a family every year. And I think 39, I think I was a sophomore. And I went with the folks over there. I think there were 50 cents for a ticket, 3 for $1. And I bought a ticket. And at 9 or 10 o'clock they had them giving away. And they called my name. And I won the mare.
Were you still there? Did you have to be there and present to win?
Yeah. And Dad went up with me and I won the mare. Then they gave the colt away. And the guy won the colt and he was in town. He didn't want it. So he sold it to me for $50.
So you got both. You got the free mare and the colt for $50.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, Dad had the use of the mare right away on the farm,
What did you name her?
Her name was Babe, I think. And then he immediately bred the mare, and we raised a couple colts out of her. And I'll have to look those pictures
farm work too?
Yeah, and then I later, I sold the horse and the colt. And I don't remember, I'll have to look at my checkbook, or in my checkbook, my bank book. Maybe it shows it there, I don't know. But anyway, I won the horse, I won the mare, and bought the colt. Beautiful animal.
You have bank books all the way back from that time? You've kept all your bank books?
It was all in one bank book. I got it. I'll have to show it to you when you're over there.
You should hold on to those things, Dad.
Huh?
I mean, I know you've held on to those things. That would be nice to have.